Got a pretty interesting one today. So the Santa Barbara County Sheriff's Department is training dogs to detect ghost guns. That's pretty interesting because ghost guns are just firearms without a serial number. So how can they train a dog who is a heckin' good boy? I will admit this dog is a pretty dang good looking doggo. How can they train a dog to detect the lack of a serial number? Well, let's watch the video from the local news department, and then we're going to kind of comment and analyze and discuss the situation at hand. It's a pretty interesting one, and I think there's a whole lot going on here that... Before we get going, though, I do want to say thank you to everyone that's been supportive of me in the past few weeks. A lot of stuff has been going on. We did an Armed in May event with myself and Armed Scholar. That was super awesome. I have been moving, so, you know, everything's been changing, been very busy. I haven't been able to upload as many videos, but I uploaded a few just in the past week or so. If you want to check some of those out, the YouTube algorithm has not been kind to me lately. But I also want to say thank you to Premier Body Armor for sending me this backpack. Now this backpack looks pretty normal, but on the inside it has a level 3A body armor plate, which I'm actually pretty stoked on. It's super thin, super light. This backpack looks completely normal. My problem with a lot of people is they tend to get super tactical backpacks, wear 5'11", and look like they are concealed carrying. The coolest thing about this is it is normal. This is what you would see on a college campus, but it gives you some level of protection in the event that you encounter one of the most common rounds in America, being handgun rounds. I'm very thankful for Premier Body Armor for sending this out to me. I have a coupon code, which I'm going to have a link down below, and a link that'll get you 10% off anything that you order. I think what they are doing as far as concealed body armor is really cool. I think I'm going to be leaving this in my truck with a variety of other equipment that I would leave in my car. Very good way to just kind of stay prepared passively without having to really think about it. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about down below, and I will do a video topic in the future about how you might be able to integrate body armor into your everyday carry.
Nina, this is a ghost gun recently confiscated by the sheriff's office following a pursuit in Lompoc. The gun might look similar to any regular weapon, however, it's missing one major piece, registration to make it legally owned. Today I got a first-hand look at the only canine in the Tri-County area trained.
I love how they talk about ghost guns as if they are this like super scary thing. Like, oh man, if this guy had registration, it would make it so much better. It would make him so much safer. Disregarding the fact that criminals have been acquiring guns illegally for decades. As long as guns have existed and they've been illegal for certain people, they've been acquiring them. So they act like ghost guns are the reason that people have been able to acquire firearms, which it isn't. That's a heckin' good boy.
Canines trained for narcotics and search and rescue missions, but Canine Zeke and his handler, Deputy Shane Moore, are trained in something different.
We're about 3 weeks after completing our graduation from detection school.
Zeke can now sniff out weapons like these, ghost guns.
Zeke was trained to alert on what we call Polymer 80s, and it's like the grip part of a handgun.
See, this sounds great, but you're gonna hear the rest of it in a minute.
And he's also trained to alert on the steel on slides and the ammunition that we use for firearms.
Deputy Moore.
So, do you think the dog is going to be finding these frames, which are currently uncompleted, or do you think the dog is more likely to smell the gunpowder in the magazine, in the bullets, and the steel on the slide, aka the completed firearm at the scene? Because currently in the state of California, it is not illegal for someone to possess a unfinished Polymer 80 frame or a unfinished 80% arms lower receiver.
Comes at a time when the Santa Barbara County Sheriff's Office says they're seeing a rise in the number of ghost guns being confiscated during searches.
In 2020, we had 21 ghost guns.
So they're claiming that they had 21 ghost guns in 2020. Now, does that mean that there were 21 people who were actually truly violent criminals, dangerous people that were committing crimes other than just being in possession of a unlicensed or unregistered firearm? Because those are two very different things, and they're going to use that to push the narrative of what they want, which is more gun control. These police departments are lobbying for more gun control. It's pretty clear. I understand that there are rank and file officers all over the states, all over the nation that don't agree with gun control, and that's great. And I've met some that have recently said that because of what I've said, they've actually reached out to their police unions to not actively support these gun control legislations and and processes anymore. And that's great. I love to hear that kind of stuff. But unfortunately, the higher ups, the brass, and the unions are the people that are going to be supporting more gun control.
Guns found throughout the year. So it's a significant number considering that the 2 years preceding were 5 each.
Zeke says people can buy a gun that's about 80% complete online and then put the rest of the gun together themselves. But what makes the gun a ghost gun isn't necessarily the parts in the gun, it's actually what's left out.
Before you assemble it, that's when you're supposed to notify the Department of Justice and have a serialized number and have that gun registered to you, officially registered. And it's that portion of that process that's being skipped, where these guns are becoming complete, they're being, fully made and functional and out on our streets, and they're not being tracked.
So
here's the part that really fucking chaps my ass. This lady is saying that they are skipping the crucial process of turning one of those Polymer 80% pistol frames into a firearm. She's claiming that there is a legal way to do it and that they are skipping it. That's a bunch of fucking bullshit when you consider that in the state of California, if you want to build a firearm for your own use from your own processes, and it is a polymer frame firearm, you need to have 3.7 ounces of 17-4 pH stainless steel embedded into the frame. Now, I'm not saying that it needs to, like the federal definition, has to be as detectable by a metal detector as that amount of steel. No, the state of California went absolutely fucking bonkers and decided that they want you to put 3.7 ounces of 17-4 pH stainless steel into the frame of the firearm. That is impossible with one of those guns. There is no legal way, because of the way that the state of California has written their laws, for you to actually build one of these guns. If you wanted to legally build one of those firearms, which is basically no different than a Glock that you would buy from a store when fully completed, there is no way for you to actually do that. The state does not allow you to. You wouldn't be able to build it as a semi-auto. You would have to build it as a single shot exempt with a barrel of over 6 inches and an overall length of over 10 inches. It would have to be single shot or it would have to be a single shot and a bolt action or break top. And you would have to find a way to permanently embed 3.7 ounces of 17-4 pH stainless steel into the frame of the firearm that you would then put the serial number on. Keep in mind, no firearm that is a polymer frame like a Glock that you can currently buy from a gun store, they are not held to that same requirement of actual amount of steel in the frame of the gun. Absolutely ridiculous. There is no way for you to legally do this. I had to make a whole video on how I 3D printed a Glock 19 in the state of, or a Glock in the state of California, and it is an absolute abomination because that's what they want you to do. There's no way for someone to do this easily or legally.
How quickly can Zeke find one of these weapons? We hid one in the shrubbery at El Capitan State Beach.
She walked about 5 feet to the right, put it next to the bush, and then let the dog go about 15 feet away from it.
Bendon.
Zeke was able to find the weapon in under a
Which, I mean,
minute.
like, just look at this good boy. That's a heckin' good doggo. I'm not going to blame the dog. It's not his fault that he was conscripted into service for the police. Look, that's a heckin' good boy.
The department is now hopeful these skills will help them stay ahead as criminal activity evolves.
That's how we find. And then his special training is just going to make everybody safer.
How, though? Because either you're finding fully complete firearms that any K9 unit can find, right? Or you're finding an incomplete frame, which is not legally a firearm. Either you're finding someone in possession of something that they can't legally have, like a fully built firearm, or you're finding someone in possession of a piece of plastic which they can legally have. What's the big deal? What is the difference? I'll tell you, there is no difference. That dog cannot find the difference between a gun that has had the serial number scratched off and a gun that has a serial number properly. There is no difference.
The sheriff's office says so far this year they have confiscated 3 ghost guns in Santa Barbara County, but that number does not include additional ghost guns found by deputies that are now a part of federal cases.
Which, how many are there? We don't know, but we're not going to tell you. We have no way to track it, right? I don't know. Let me know what you guys think down below. I think that doggo is a heckin' good boy. However, there is no difference between a firearm with a serial number and without a serial number. I highly doubt that that dog can smell whether or not the serial number has been defaced. I highly doubt whether or not that dog can smell the difference between a firearm that is legally owned and a firearm that was stolen and now in the hands of a criminal. I highly doubt that they are going to be able to do anything by simply just being able to find incomplete frames. I really don't think that's going to affect violent crime in any way. However, what this is kind of shocking is it's showing that the police are looking to be able to control you as much as they can. And this is just another step in that path. I'm pretty upset with how they talk about these ghost guns, implying that there is a way for someone in the state of California to legally build one of those, when if you've watched my channel before, and really, you know, if these people that are in law enforcement, they should know better. They should know that there's no way for you to actually legally build a Polymer 80 firearm as a personal builder in the state of California. Unless you can figure out a way to get 3.7 ounces of 17-4 pH stainless steel that you could then put the serial number on, have externally visible, but then permanently embed into the firearm, there is no way that you are going to be able to do it. In addition to the fact that you're going to have to make it a bolt action or break action single shot with a barrel length of over 6 inches and an overall length of over 9 inches or over 10 inches, I can't remember off the top of my head, there is no way that you are going to be able to do that in the state of California legally, meaning that people that wish to exercise their rights to keep and bear arms through that means, or maybe because the DOJ was taking upwards of 40 days to approve people's background checks, or completely denying them altogether, those people were forced to either not have the tools to defend themselves or break the law. They said they found 22 ghost guns last year. Okay, cool. What were the circumstances? Do I even care? What does it matter? Was that 22 people that just happened to be minding their own goddamn business and just wanted to defend themselves, but for some reason, because they maybe got a weed charge back in the 80s because the police were arresting people for having an ounce of weed and then putting them with felonies for the rest of their life, which maybe if they weren't a wobbler, they could not get reduced to a misdemeanor prior to getting expunged, because if you get a felony drug charge and you cannot get it reduced to a misdemeanor first, you cannot get your gun rights back. Was it something like that? Was it one person with 21 ghost guns and then one person with one ghost gun? Or was it 22 violent criminals that were in the act of attempting to commit a murder and they were prohibited persons, meaning that they chose to do that? Because those are two very different things. So what is it? We don't really know. And some counties aren't actually even tracking it. 3 as of the 5th month of this year. 3. So maybe they'll see 8. Maybe last year was an anomaly where they found 20. Maybe that's something to do with the fact that the police presence were a lot more severe because a lot more people were rioting in the streets. I don't know. You can't really just take one specific year and say, oh, well, the year before they had 5. Last year they had 22. Well, that means that the year after it, it's gonna quadruple in size again. They're gonna have 88. That's how it works. That's how math works, right? 5 to 22, that's about 400%, right? So they're going to have another 400% this year. I think that's how it works. We can say that because the stats say so. I don't know. It seems like there's a whole lot of misleading information when it comes to ghost guns out there on the internet right now, and it's just kind of unfortunate that that is what the media is trying to push. You guys know the drill, though. Have fun, be safe, stay dangerous. Peace. Again, thank you to everyone that supports this channel. Do me a favor. 360 no-scope the like button. The YouTube algorithm has not been pleasant to me lately, and you know what? Maybe in the past few videos that I've made, maybe I made shitty content, and maybe it's my fault. And at the end of the day, that's on me. I'm going to work to be better on that. I'm going to work to provide you better, more entertaining, more educational content. But, you know, if you did like the video, smash like. I don't know, whatever it is. Thank you.